Hi guys, this is the saber taping video, and first off I just wanted to mention something. I have taped many sabers. It was my service project one time. So I have had the chance to refine my technique into something that I like to do personally, but that in no way means that you are required to do it the same way. This is up to personal preference, and there are a lot of different ways to do this. Look up some other videos for reference if you wanted to try some different things. And also I just have to say, this is kind of a long video, so I will have some timestamps posted so you can just skip to what you want and you don't have to worry about watching the whole thing to find a spot to start at. If you just need to do one thing, you can skip to right there, but if you're looking through this whole video because you want to retape your entire saber, keep watching. So the first thing I want to go over in this video is anatomy of a saber. Here we are. So this is the hilt. This black part, that's mostly what we will be referring to as the hilt. This silver part is the basket. That is what I will be referring to as the basket throughout this video. This, the white, is your blade. Yeah? I will be referring to this as the blade throughout the video. This black tape is your spotter tape. It's also your balance point. This tape right here, it's right here, can't really see it, but this is second tape. Right now, as we are learning how to catch second tape, we are taping one side of it, but that's just for now. And then at the very end, this is called the tip. On the other end, there's a screw right here, and sometimes I refer to it as the button. One time in the video, I mentioned curve frowning. And that means that this curve is going down, like it's a frowny face going down. This is curve up, this is curve down, if that confuses someone. So. One more thing I need to mention. When we're holding our saber, this is my left hand and this is my right hand. This is the normal way to come set on a saber. This side that is towards me, that's what I'm talking about when the side that is most often facing me. This side of it is the side that is facing away from me. Everything I use for the saber retaping job includes white tape, black tape, a razor, a flathead screwdriver, an oil to remove stickiness like baby oil or Goo Gone, dish soap because it does a better job at breaking down oils, also access to water, wash rags, 2 of them, a towel, scissors, ruler, and a Sharpie, or any other marker. First, I just wanted to include a time lapse of me removing all of the tape from the saber because I think it's satisfying.
Sounds good.
Here are some things I like to do to maintain my saber. After all the tape is removed, I like to take a razor blade and clean out any gunk around the screw. To clean off any melted, sticky tape residue, I like to take Goo Gone and a wash rag to remove it.
Sounds good.
To remove the oil and ensure that the tape sticks well, I take dish soap and water on a rag and wash it off, then dry it with a towel. And finally, I like to take this time to make sure my screw is tight by using a flathead screwdriver to tighten it. I start off by taping the hilt. First thing is covering the button by taking roughly 8 inches of tape and folding it in half 3 times so that it's about 1 inch in length. After that, I take 2 pieces of tape, about 3 inches worth, and put it on the bundle of tape in cross sections. I put it on the saber, I'm going to put the corner of my bundle towards the basket to make it lay flat, making a diamond shape on the bottom. Then I stick down the cross sections opposite at a time. Then I take 3 2-inch pieces and tape horizontally across the middle, then near the basket, then on the bottom. Be very careful when taping around the basket that you don't tape on it. Now going to where the hilt meets the blade, line up the tape with the edge and wrap all the way around once. Once you meet tape again, you'll have to slant the tape, stretching it at an angle and laying it flat.
Sounds good.
Now as you tape down the hilt, this is kind of what it looks like, right? Your first pass of the tape, the purple one, lines up at the top. Fair warning, while going over the slots for your hand, you have to stretch it to get the tape to lay flat, but you have to be careful and not stretch it too much, or else the tape may not sit where you want it. So be careful of those as you are wrapping around them. Now your second pass of tape, the blue one, goes halfway over it. End up with these visible lines. That's how we know where to put our third pass, the pink one. We have to line the top of the pink up with the bottom of the purple, and you keep going beyond that for every pass you do. Besides the very beginning, because remember we had a full pass around to meet the tape, then we slanted it to start moving down the hilt. And because of that slant, now you'll have one side that will be horizontal and one will be at an angle.
Sounds good.
I want to mention that your sections won't always be half and half. They might look like this, and that's okay. Just remember to line up the seams to make your hilt super smooth.
Sounds good. Soundstripe.
Okay, now taping around the basket is the hardest part, and I want to mention that you will probably not be able to line up your seams. The priority here is to get as close as you can to the basket without covering it, avoiding bubbles, and always laying the tape flat. As a personal preference for when I am untaping, I like to keep from the place where the hilt and the blade meet all the way down and back one piece of tape, and always cutting ends clean.
Soundstripe. Soundstripe. Soundstripe.
After I go around the bottom sufficiently, I like to go all the way back up, resuming lining up the seams. If you don't want to cover this twice, feel free to avoid going all the way back up again. Another thing I want to mention is that I usually like to have the end seams on the back of the saber, or the part of the saber that is most commonly facing away from me, because I find that I am less likely to mess with the edges and pull them up, therefore making them less sticky if they are away from me. Again, a personal preference.
Sound stripe. Sound stripe.
Now moving on to the blade. First off, you're going to start off by lining your tape up with the top of the basket, going flat along the side of the blade. It's a good idea to line up the tape with the top of the saber, top in this case being in relation to the curve, frowning, and any excess on the bottom, fold over. Remember to remove bubbles.
Sound stripe. Sound stripe. Sound stripe.
Once you get to the tip, you will continue with the same piece of tape and fold it over. Make sure you continue to line up the tape with the top, folding over excess on the bottom, and go all the way back down. Now we go up and back down again, but this time we cover the edges of the blade. So this piece needs to start half on, half off. I start on the part of the saber that most often faces me. I'm using the light behind the tape to help determine half. Only after you get all the way down do you fold it over.
Sound stripe.
During this process, it is important to start by pressing the half of the tape on the saber down, then running your finger along the corner, then on the edge or the bottom of the saber, then the other corner, and finally along the other side.
Sound stripe. Sound stripe. Sound stripe.
Going back to your tape roll, this time line up the edges of the tape on the side that normally faces you, going all the way back down and folding over the edges the same way.
Sound stripe.
The tape on the other side of the blade doesn't meet. It is also important to note that it is okay if your tapes do not meet on the basket because we will be covering it with tape. Now moving on to tapes. I want to note something important. This is the only required exact measurement. Earlier I told you about a certain length of tape and later I will give you other measurements. But those are not actually necessary to be exact. The distance from the tip before it is taped over and the second tape is exact. For 39-inch sabers, which is what we have, is 11 inches from the end. That is where you put the center of your tape. For the most accuracy, I use a Sharpie to mark out the length. The next tape to measure you find differently. This one is called your balance point. because it is where you can balance your saber on one finger. It usually takes a minute to find, but once you do, mark it with a marker and double check. To actually tape the tapes, you are going to take a piece of white tape, about 3 1/4 inches in length for the second tape, and one white and one black piece of tape, both 1 3/4 inches in length for the spotter tape. Center the tape over your mark. Remember to put seams away from you, and the tape should wrap twice around for the second tape and 1 time each for the spotter tape.
Sound stripe. Sound stripe.
Then go back to second tape and place a square in black on the side that is facing you.
Sound stripe. Sound stripe.
To finish up, take one more piece of white tape, 3 1/4 inches long, and line it up with the basket at the bottom of your blade. You can claim your saber here if you haven't already. The last part to tape is the tip. First thing is taking a piece of tape about 12 inches long and fold it backwards twice. So we have a 3-inch bundle with the sticky side out.
Sound stripe. Sound stripe.
Fold it over the tip and stick it down. By doing the sticky side, I find it is easier to manage. Then I took 4 2-inch pieces of tape. I took one piece and wrapped it around the tip to squish on the sides. Then I took 2 more and put them crosswise halfway on the tip and wrapped it around to squish down the corners. Then the last over the tip, same as the other 2, this one just went over the middle.
Sound stripe. Sound stripe.
Then I started wrapping around the tip, starting at the very end and wrapping down, then back up. In this video, I went back down one more time, but then later determined that it was too big and removed the last bit.
Sound stripe.
And that's it, the saber taping video. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. I am always willing to answer your questions. I'll see you in the next video, which is the rifle taping video.